Hey guys, so I thought we'd have a look at practical paper 4, and this is for the A-level, and this is going to be one of the specimen papers from 2021. Okay, so all I want to do is work through this and see what we can come up with. It's probably not going to be a perfect answer, but hopefully it will be enough of an answer for you to get an idea of what's going on. All right, so let's start with this. Okay, so we've got evidence document. I'm not going to copy and paste into the evidence document, but you should, with all the stuff on it. And then we're going to have our two different source files. So we've got data.add.txt and we've got second data.txt. And here's one I made earlier, and I have these next to my program, which is here. Okay, so first thing I've got to do is I have to add a 1D array called the data. And that's easy enough. All right. Okay, now, again, because we're using Python, we have to be a little bit careful because declarations and stuff, we should be doing at A-level, but Python doesn't have declarations and stuff. So we need to work our way around that. Anyway, let's start by making the data. And the data, it says, is 20, 3, 4, 8, 12, 99, 4, 26, 4. So this is the data. So I have to ask myself, what data type is it? How big is the array? Things like this. Now, if it doesn't actually specify here, then I might be okay. Okay, so I think I just have to count here for the size. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is 0 to 8 in my case. So I can start with a line saying declare the data, and that's going to be an array. And what did I say? 0 to 9, was it? 0 to 9. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 0 to 8. 0, 1, 9. Have I got them all? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, sorry, 0 to 8, not 0 to 9. Okay, remember pseudo-code's inclusive. So declare the data array 0 to 8. And of what data type is it? Well, looks like it's an integer. Okay, so we've done that one for part A. And then we need to save it, paste it into the evidence document. Okay, done. I'm just going to save it for mine. Now, again, I can add more comments about initialization and stuff. I won't bother. Okay, and then we're on to an insertion sort. Okay, so with an insertion sort, I start with this bit being sorted, and then I take each of these one by one and sort them into my sorted half of the array. So to begin with, 3 is less than 20, so I would end up with 320 as my sorted array. So let's just do that in a few steps, just to remind ourselves how an insertion sort works. So if I had 20 and 3 would be my first two numbers. So I would say, is 3 less than 20? Yes, it is. Therefore, I move it down. And in fact, I copy 20 into the space next to it. And then all of the other numbers would remain the same going on here. 26 and 4. But now, so at this first time, my sorted array would equal the first number. And then next time, I know that this is my sorted array. Okay. Now next time, I'm going to take the 4, and I'm going to say, is 4 less than 20? Yes, it is. Is 4 less than 3? No, it's not, so stop. So I'm then going to move my 4, I'm going to move my 20 to here and put the 4 into there. Okay, so the next time round, it would be like this. But my sorted portion, I would have swapped the 4 and the 20. Swap the 4 and the 20, and so the sorted portion of the array would be the first 3 numbers. I'll do one more just for good measure. And this time I'm taking the 8 Okay, so it's the first number not in the sorted array, and I'm comparing it to the 20. Is the 8 less than the 20? Yes, then move the 20 over. Is the 8 less than the 4? No, then copy the 8 into the position where the 20 was. So our next line should be something like 8 and then 20, and then the 4 bits are our sorted array. Okay, and we would keep going until we get to the size of the array, and then we would stop. Okay, so now they've given us pseudocode here. Not a huge fan of these types of questions, partly because a lot of the time the pseudocode doesn't really match up with Python especially. It's one of the reasons I'm switching to Java with my students next year, because it's just a bit closer to the pseudocode, really. Okay, anyway, we're going to make a procedure. So to make a procedure, we use def. Okay, now actually what I want to be doing here is filling in the missing spaces. Okay, so for count, first element to what? Well, that's going to be probably to the length of the data. So we're going from the first element to the length of the data. Now, annoyingly, they have said specifically you cannot use length with an array. We can do it in Python, so we're not going to have a problem with the answer to our questions, but CIE are contradicting themselves once again, just to make our lives difficult. Then our next line, data to insert, we're going to insert the data at I. Okay, thank you, CIE. You have made yet another mistake. Okay, so I think we suspect that this should be the count and not the data at I. Okay, because we don't have an I variable, so where is I coming from? We don't know. All right, so let's go from the first element to the end of the array. And then we're going to insert the data there. Then inserted equals 0, so that's to say that if something has been inserted or not. And then the next value is going to equal the count minus 1. So we're moving down the array like we did before. So we were starting with like here, and then we checked it with here, and then we checked it with there. Okay, well, the value is greater than 0. And then we also had this inserted to say if it had been inserted or not. And so I think this is going to be while the next value is greater than or equal to 0 and inserted is not equal to 1. So this is a flag here. It probably should have been a Boolean. It probably should have used a better variable than inserted, but it is what it is. Okay, so if the next value is greater than 0, that is, we have not got to the end of the leftmost side of the array, so we want it to be greater than 0, greater than or equal to 0, sorry, and inserted is not equal to minus 1, then this is basically just swapping our values around. So the data at the next value plus 1 becomes equal to the data at value. So that was a case of us saying, just like we had here before, that was a case of us saying that, let's say I was comparing these two, I was saying the data at n plus 1 becomes equal to 20, and then I say next value equals next value minus 1, so that's then going to be this one, and then I'm going to say the data the data next value, so sorry, that's copying it down to, that's copying it from here to here. Next value equals the next value minus 1. Okay, so we're taking 1 away from the next value, and then we're saying at the data, the next value plus 1. Bit of a weird way to write it since we're just taking away 1, but that's going to become equal to the data to insert, I believe. Which means that it would be copied around. And again, I'm not super happy with this. We've got some weird extra, not necessarily extra variables going on, but just, yeah, it's a bit kind of verbose, it's a bit kind of messy, but that's the whole idea of these exams. It's a bit of problem solving. So anyway, let's see if we can write this out and get it working. And the big advantage we have in this exam is we can actually write some code. Yay. Okay, so and so 1A, 1B. So in the program you wrote for 1A, write the procedure insert and sort, insertion sort, blah, 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 blah. Pass the array you declared by reference, and follow the pseudocode given and stuff. Okay, so let's do that then. So we're going to do def in, oops, the capital letters or not. So again, if they use capital letters, you should use capital letters. If they don't, you shouldn't. But basically, we need to convert this pseudocode here into something that hopefully will work. So insertion sort, and we're going to pass in the data as our array. Oh. Okay, and then we said for count in range, and it's going to be from the first element, which is 0, to, it's going to be from the first element to the length of the array, which is the data. So we're going to go from 0 to the length of the data. And then I'm going to say data to insert equals the data. Now they've said I'm pretty sure that's a mistake in the code. I think that should say count. I'm just going to try it with count. Okay, pretty sure. I'm very wary about saying that the exams are wrong, but pretty sure the exam's wrong in this one. Anyway, good. And then we're going to say inserted, which is our flag, is equal to 0. Okay, and then next value. So again, we're moving down our sorted list at this point, I believe. So next value is equal to the count minus 1. Sorry, next value is equal to next value minus 1. Sorry, my bad. Next value minus 1. Oh, no, sorry, I'm way down here. I should be up here. Next value equals count minus 1. That was right the first time. Okay, and then I'm going to say while the next value is greater than or equal to 0, and inserted is not equal to 1. Okay, so if for some reason we do the else here, then that means we have got to the end. So basically, if this number is not smaller than this number, then we say, we've reached the place in the array that still fits, and we can leave it there. All right, so, well, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to say if the data to insert is less than the data next value. Now, as you can see, I'm not reasonably sure about what's going on here, but I'm not 100% at times because of the way they're doing things, especially things when they've, I think, made mistakes. But I could get a lot of marks here just by converting it line by line into what it's saying. Okay, so even if you get no idea what's going on, just copy it and change it into the equivalent Python and hope for the best. You'll get a decent amount of marks for it that way anyway. Okay, so if the data to insert is less than the data next value, then I'm going to say that the data at next value plus 1 is going to become equal to the data next value. Okay, and then I'm going to say next value equals next value minus 1. And I could say the data next value plus 1 becomes equal to, I believe it comes equal to the data to insert. Oops, sorry, I'm copied the pseudocode here rather than the equal sign. Okay, fingers crossed. And then I'm going to say else. Okay, inserted equals 1. And if and while, next we don't need an end procedure. Okay, so hopefully, probably want to double check everything and make sure. Well, let's just run it and see what errors I'm getting, and then I can work with it from there. Okay, so again, we're lucky with paper 4, we can actually run stuff, so we don't have to get it right first time like we do when we're doing paper 3 or paper 2. I'm going to do insertion sort on the data. Now I'm not returning anything here, so maybe I want to print, again we need to remove this later, I'm going to print the data at the very end of the procedure. I'm not sure if that's lining up or not. Okay, I'm going to print the data at the end of the procedure just so I can see what it's like. Sorry, that's with the while loop, isn't it? So I want it to print at the for loop. Okay. I could print it line by line to see how it's sorting. I might go back and do that if it doesn't work. But let's see what we got. Boom. Okay, so our data has become 3, 4, 4, 4, 8, 12, 20, 26, 99. To me, that looks like it's been sorted. Yay. Okay, cool. So, now if you're confused about this, and you're like, I still don't get it, that's totally fine. Like I said, I find it hard to get my brain around the way they do stuff sometimes. It's like, different people have different styles. If you're in that situation, the best thing you can do at this point then is to go and make a trace table. So make a little trace table, and in it you're going to have things like the count, and you're going to have the data to insert, you're going to have it, and just work through it with a trace table and see how it's working. And that way you'll learn to understand maybe why they're doing certain things in here. Okay, now it's not asked to print the data, so I'm going to get rid of that. Boom, and put it like so. And cool. Now I'm curious, if I then print the data here, is it going to print the data or not? Okay, because it does tell me to pass by reference, but in Python, I don't think I can do that. Okay, yay, that worked. Okay, cool. So it is sorting it. That was the important thing to check, that it is actually sorting the array and not just sorting it locally up here. Okay, that's quite a big one, so I'll probably mess up something in the next part. So I'm just going to do, I'll do C and D, etc. as another video. See you in a bit.